Anyway, nice to see everybody. I was a little nervous this morning when I got in my car and I saw this snow behind me, and I thought, okay, if I'm really supposed to go give this sermon, then my car is going to go right over that snow. And it did. So I guess I'm really supposed to give this sermon today. There's quite a pile of snow. So thank you. It's very nice to be here. A few weeks ago, Mika asked if I would share something about headquarters, kind of headquarters life there, and also something about connecting to True Mother's heart. So in putting some thoughts together, I realized that this is a wonderful opportunity for visuals. So even though the sermon title is Our Faith in the Next Generation, I'm actually going to first take you to headquarters and then introduce a little bit more in depth some of the couples, the young couples who are there. So I'm going to give you a view of headquarters through some of these remarkable second generation couples who are leading now. And then in the second half, I'd like to share some photos and thoughts about connecting to True Mother's heart. Is that okay? So we still have about 10, 15 seats here in the middle. Lucy Moore, I'd love to see your smiling face. Why don't you come over? About 8 seats in the second row are empty and 6 seats in the third row. And please feel free to come and be really close, be warm. Now, why don't you sit right down here next to Dr. Hempler? That'd be nice. Okay, that's much better. Thank you. Okay, raising up the next generation of leaders. On the national level, Dr. Ki-Hun Kim, our Continental Chairman, Dr. Michael Balcom, President. Really, it's in their hands to guide and lead everything at headquarters, and that includes now the very important work of preparing the next generation. So that time is coming very quickly, and it's actually much of what happens at headquarters. So I don't know how many of you have been to our new headquarters. How many have been to our office on the 12th floor of the New Yorker? Wow, very few. Okay, so we actually occupy the entire floor now. Custom made. This was a floor that was gutted for, I was told, since you had the New Yorker, somehow this floor never was built up. But recently, half of it was made into offices for the Family Federation, and then the second half, the other half, was made into offices for all of the affiliate organizations. So they're all together on the 12th floor. This is what you see when you come off the elevator. And then down the hall, leading to the door, there's some wonderful murals of photos. True parents, true mother, recent activities, goes down the entire walls. And as you walk in, this is the entrance, the True Parents, and the 3 texts that True Mother so lovingly prepared for all of us. So just a couple of fun areas. Actually, more than 50% of our staff at headquarters, I think actually almost 2/3 now, is second gen. So you really feel it when you're moving around there. So there's this wonderful lounge. And sorry I'm showing you the pictures of it empty, but lots of things happen here. Parties, events, getting together for mealtime. So right here, I'm going to start just by quickly introducing these couples, and then I'm going to talk about them a little bit later. This is Milhan Stevens, his wife Sayaka, and Ayumi. Milhan is vice president of the church and also leading Cranes Club. This is Mari Curry, her husband Richard, William, and Liana. Mari is vice president of Family Federation and also president of the National Council. This is Koichi Nakai, his wife Laurel, and their children Miles and Skylar. This is Crescentia and Leighton Degody. Sorry, I don't have a photo of their daughter. They have their wonderful daughter, Rose. Damien Dunkley, his wife, Yumiko and Timothy, Hannah, and Jonathan. Damien is Director of Evangelism. Crescentia, as you know, is Director of the Blessed Family Ministry. Now, Akimi and Shukuko Ushiroda, Taishim and Eri, he is President of CARP. This is Teresa and Neil Rischel. She's Program Director for CARP. And we have Katerina and Michael Connery and their son Matthew. I'm very happy they're sitting right up there in the corner. Katerina, Vice President of WWP. And this is Benji Uyama and his family. Benji is working with Crescentia in the Blessed Family Ministry. This is Tal Zor, her husband Joel, and 3 of their children, Alia. They have twin boys, Ori and Rani. So I wanted to start with that because this is the group that's running headquarters more and more. More and more authorities being put in their hands, and it's their time. So I want to just give you some snapshots. This is Milhan busy in his office, Mari in the back doing some work. This is the meeting room for the Blessed Family Ministry. Here's Damien Dunkley being taped by Shinyang, and Koichi in his ministry support area. This is one of our favorite parts of the whole floor. Almost half of the headquarters side looks like this. The ceiling is open with pipes like that, and the spaces are very, very open. That's the way the young teams love to work, the departments. They work in teams, they're clumped throughout this area. And this bit on the right is where they eat. This is Koichi's studio. This is where Dr. Balcom is taped every week. And many projects and programs are taped there. This is Shinyang Chang, who does a great deal in that area. Carlson Allen, who works directly with Damien Dunkley. Just a few, I love this spot. This sort of farm table is teeming with people having lunch every day. There's 3 or 4 places where lunch can be enjoyed in a group setting, and they're always packed and full for that hour. So I just wanted to give you some snapshots of the different responsibilities that this group has on an ongoing basis. These are the monthly meetings. Dr. Kyun Kim holds monthly meetings to kind of help all of us update with what True Mother is doing and directions. So here at our monthly meetings, Mari presents. Here's Mari and Crescentia, Nilhan, Crescentia, Teresa, Damien. More and more, they're the ones giving the reports during those monthly meetings. We have an annual outing each year, and this year it was at Lake Wawa Yanda in New Jersey. Here's Koichi building a castle with his sons. Here's Crescentia. There's Rose down there on the blanket. And Mari and Richard and their children, and lots of singing. And this is our own Katerina. They had a sandcastle competition in WWP 1 because Katerina agreed to be a, what were you, Katerina? A mermaid. She agreed to be a mermaid, and she was really the best. So the voting team, I think it was 3 women and 2 men, so guess what? She won. Peace King Cup Fishing Tournament. The headquarters leaders participate in all of these initiatives with a lot of enthusiasm. Vision 2020 Leaders Meeting. This is one that we had in IPEC several months ago in Las Vegas. And this was, I think, a 2.5-day meeting. And it was entirely put together and led this time by our second-generation leaders. This is Michael Hendrick, who, that's a familiar name for many of you. His father led the church in Colorado for many years, and now he's leading the church in Colorado with his wife and children. Shinyang, Teresa, Jessica Sattinger. This was a meal we had at your parents' house during that leaders meeting. Top Gun in Korea. This group has gone several times. There's Carlson, Shinyang, Yoshiko. The Top Gun sunglass phenomenon is a big deal. There are many of the photos. They're all donning these sunglasses. Here's Milhan and Mari and Damien. Opening of IPEC. Our Christmas party at 43rd Street. Koichi's very, very musical, as well as being so adept with graphics and all kinds of video work. And he's actually started a little band at headquarters, and they play on many occasions. This is Olga. Olga Majitova works in the legal office, and actually she's in the process of being trained and prepared to run the legal office when Kay Allen steps down. Huge responsibility. And, this was a game we played where we had this paper plate on top of our head, and we had to draw a picture. And then the pictures that even remotely looked like pictures won. But you couldn't look at it, you had to do it that way the whole time. Okay, before I go on to this next part, I'm going to just go back to the part about the second gen. I want to tell you a little bit about each one of these couples, because this is the group. So Milhan Stevens is really a remarkable young man, and some of you may know that he, I'm not going to go into it too much, but he's going through a lot of challenges on the personal level in terms of the choices of faith some members of his family are making. And this is the young man that True Mother has chosen and is preparing to be president of our movement. So the challenges he's going through are really extraordinary. He shares about it almost weekly publicly in headquarters, with tremendous depth and heart, and tremendous love for his family and his parents, as well as for True Parents. And when I watch how he's dealing with this on his own and how he's sharing this with all of us, I feel True Mother has really picked so wisely. Mari Curry is an extraordinary young woman. As I mentioned, she's also a vice president. She and her husband were pastors in Florida, in South Florida, and did very well and really loved that. She has a master's in theology from Jongshin Seminary in Korea, and she's presently halfway through her doctorate at UTS. She's in her 20s, 2 children, vice president, working on her doctorate, handling all of this. And I came very close to her this past year and just feel a remarkable young woman, very natural kind of vertical sense. She always says that she inherited the lion's share of the Japanese part of her background. She has a vertical nature, very with ease, and really applying herself. She feels mostly the heart of a pastor, and that's what she's trying to apply on the national level. Now, Koichi, so talented. So when you think of the newsletters you see every day coming up from Family Fed almost, the weekly reports, all the many things that are posted on the website and come through email, Koichi's responsible for it. He probably has a staff of close to 20 who work on this literally night and day. And if there's a speech late in the afternoon, it's expected to be transcribed and on this and up before the end of the day. So they don't know hours. This story for me is remarkable. This is Leighton and Crescentia. Leighton first was introduced to True Mother during the Aloha workshop in Hawaii for True Parents' grandchildren that year. And Mother noticed this wonderful relationship developing between her grandchildren and Leighton. And she was very, very moved by this. So she spent some time with Leighton and learned about his marriage, learned about his family. And before the end of the Aloha workshop, True Mother appointed Crescentia, without ever meeting her, to be head of the Blessed Family Department in headquarters, a position she's held now for more than 2 years. And she was 26 when True Mother made that appointment. That's a very gutsy move to make when, number one, you haven't met the person, but she had such a feeling to Leighton and really had a strong feeling about this couple. This past visit just before Christmas when we were in Las Vegas. A number of the second gen were at True Parents' house at a time when True Mother was speaking directly, and Crescentia was about 4 or 5 feet away from Mother. I was standing there, and she said that True Mother's gaze was on her during this particular talk Mother was giving the whole time. And Crescentia felt so deeply empowered during this talk to support Mother. So that night we were sharing a room together during that leaders meeting, and she came back and she got ready for bed, and she got into bed, and then she just broke into tears. And she was really sobbing, and she felt so connected to True Mother's heart and so eager to comfort her. And one thing she said moved me so much. She said she was thinking about this time right now and what Mother's asking all of us to do. And Crescentia said, if not me, who? And if not now, when? That's sort of the essence of feeling responsible for something. If not me, who? If not now, when? So she felt that kind of call from that brief time with True Mother that day. I was really deeply moved by that. Damien Dunkley, I don't know how many of you know his story. Damien actually first met the church when he was 1 year old with his mother and father. His mother stayed, his father did not. His father took Damien and raised him in Europe for the next 18 years. But something always moved through his mind and heart to want to know much more what his mother was doing. So before 20, he came to visit her. He joined the church. He's been here ever since. His wife now, the older of his 3 children, is actually a teenager already. It's just a remarkable story of someone who's been guided really their whole life to do this, to do what he's doing and be where he is. Now Kimi is someone True Mother chose to run CARP. He's really a very bright young man. His background is in business, right? Yeah. He has a Wharton School of Business. Very, very bright, very strategic, always coming up with innovative ways to do things. Teresa Rischel now is a wonderful young woman who's assisting in CARP. And Katerina, who we're so very grateful for. I don't want to say so much since they're sitting up there, but True Mother handpicked her for this position, and now she's also in this group who are being raised and mentored toward their leadership in their respective areas. Benji, as I mentioned, working with Crescentia. Tal Zor, extraordinary young woman, first generation in her early 40s, joined the church in Israel, and she is now the executive assistant for Dr. Kim and Dr. Balcom, and makes all the arrangements for them. Every afternoon she's on the phone and negotiating with her 3 children how they're going to spend their afternoons. And really remarkable. So sorry, not good at fast-forwarding through these things. So I hope that gives you a snapshot of the young adults and a little bit more of a snapshot of headquarters and our world there. But I think the second part of what Mika asked me to share about in some ways is the more important, but I wanted to do it following this because really I think the best thing we can do to help these young leaders to settle in their positions and their leadership for the future of this movement is ourselves to connect deeply to True Mother and to help them too. That's really at the heart of where we are now and what we need to do. So personally, there are many ways, when you think of connecting to someone, it's give and take, right? So we don't get to see True Mother so often, but there are many, many different ways to have give and take. And personally, at this point in our movement, a lot of the give and take that we can have is confusing, it's often painful. So I really choose to have give and take with Mother on a very simple and pure level. I do a lot of it through visuals. My husband actually and I are finishing our second 40-day condition of reading one of Mother's speeches every night together. So we're doing whatever we can to connect to her deeply in heart. When I think of the relationship that I was able to develop with True Father, I really can say at some point his love was under my skin, right? I'm sure most of us felt that way. It wasn't something we felt in the moment, it was something that was part of us. You couldn't remove it. You couldn't separate from it. But now, in order to really move to the next level, we need to develop that kind of relationship with True Mother. And if I'm honest, it took me many years to develop that kind of relationship with True Father. Really many years. But that give and take was in person, because we were right there. We were able to experience so much. So when the person's not right there, what do? How do you really build that so that that relationship is very, very strong? I feel that reading one of the speeches each night has given us so much insight. There are many patterns to how Mother thinks and what she says and what's important to her. No matter how far back you go with these speeches, you find these patterns over and over and over, and I think that's when you begin to be able to connect. Also, I love the photos. So these first two are Cheongpyeong. There's so many of these are available on our websites, our FamilyFit website, and other places as well. This was the Foundation Day, 3rd anniversary. Actually, this picture, that time moved me so much. As you remember, that's when True Mother said, "What would you like to say to True Father?" I'm sorry, not Foundation Day, the 3rd anniversary of True Father's ascension. When Mother said, "What would you like to say to him?" I was so moved by that. And then what she said, I looked it up in a number of places. I don't think this is the best translation, but Mother said, "What would you like to say to True Father?" She said, "This is what I would like to tell him. Father, from now on, please do not worry. We will absolutely complete our responsibility. Please comfort God and True Parents." That was a very moving moment. So I'm just going to give you, again, some snapshots. These are Cranes Club, Europe last summer. True Mother was very happy to be with the second in Europe. All the pictures were full of a very light kind of spirit. Top Gun in Korea. She was also very happy. If you look through the photos, she's very happy when she's with our second gen and our leaders, second gen leadership. So Top Gun in Korea, so many photos. She just poured out her heart. So there were a lot of group photos where they're all crushing in around her, just like we used to do with Father, so that they can get right close to her, almost skin to skin for that photograph. The UPA cadets. As you know, this is a project very dear to Mother's heart, and she personally raises this group each year. I love this photo. I think it really captures the heart and the relationship that they have with her. Dedication of IPEC. That was a very tearful prayer she gave there. And really completing IPEC was such a landmark for True Mother, because that was True Father's last project on earth. That was the last project he started that was so important to him. But this time on her own, she had to do the dedication work, the holy salting, the preparing it. Vienna, May 2015. I was very moved. True Mother spent quite a bit of time with the elders, elder missionaries in Europe, and this picture is very typical of all of them. She's holding the hand of that member in really, really very open-hearted moments. The Little Angels went to Vienna. Picture of True Mother with Little Angels. East Garden, May 2015. I'm sure many of you were there. This was after the trip to Europe. There was one point in the talk, it was pretty much this point, where True Mother said, "What do I need to share to help you understand me and connect to my heart?" So that impacted me a lot that day. I realized that we really, because True Parents spent so many years, spent more than 50 years in the United States, we have such a responsibility to really fulfill that relationship on so many levels. And now, one of the best ways to express it is to connect deeply to True Mother's heart. She also spoke very lovingly about the United States and about America. For those of you who haven't seen it, that particular video, Vimeo, is online, May 25th, 2015. I think it says, the byline is True Mother at East Garden. is very powerful. It's about 30 minutes. True Family Values, as you know, we just went through that whole series of True Family Values events. True Mother was very happy. True Family Values was a project that initially started in Chicago, and developed over 20 years. And this time we had Chicago, Las Vegas, and New York. Mother was very happy. Apple heaven. So, this is quite an expression of Mother's heart. To actually form a band of security from the palace in Korea and send them all over the world singing. It's an expression of her heart. I think sometimes she's not able to express her whole heart, so she's preparing more and more to have others represent her. This is a wonderful band, and they play songs in different languages, and it's very light, very full of heart. Then at the end in Las Vegas, these ladies stood up and actually were dancing with the band. So right in the middle there, that's Yana Nim, Professor Yana Moon, Hyo Ji-nim's wife, who's now president of WJP International. So there were three on each side, and they were dancing, and just such a feeling of warmth and love. I tried to get a picture of the Heavenly G Burger. I'm sure you've heard that True Mother now offers hamburgers at Cheongpyeong, which he calls the Heavenly G Burger. And again, I think she's feeling more confident to, in her own way, express her heart through the band, through the dancing, through the hamburgers. So it gives us many opportunities to connect to her. So while we were in Las Vegas, True Mother decided to take the Korean, Japanese, and American leaders out for a day of hiking and a day out in the countryside. So we went to Red Rock Canyon. Unfortunately, the vehicle with the Americans got a very bad flat tire, so we showed up a little bit late, but we did make it. But Red Rock Canyon is one of my favorite places in the Las Vegas area. It's about 30 minutes outside of the Strip. Absolutely beautiful spot. So True Mother was walking. There's an area that she likes in particular. She took everyone. So this is before the Americans arrived. We were in our broken down bus, but she had everyone doing exercises. As you've heard, she does exercises called bounce. I'm sure many of you have heard about that. So she had everyone get behind her, and she was walking them and bouncing them through her daily regime, her exercise regime. It was actually very cold that week in Las Vegas. I think New York was quite balmy that week, and Las Vegas was freezing. Here's a group photo when the American group finally limped in our vehicle. I'm over there on the right, a little bit of pink behind the purple. Then True Mother took us out to a restaurant, a Brazilian restaurant. I don't know how they accommodated us. It was about 150 people, but they did. And Wonju on the left, Yananim on the right. And there are some of the American group at the table next to Mother's. So this is Las Vegas. That afternoon it rained, and then the rainbow came out, and of course we all love to see rainbows like that and get a lot of hope from it. So this is my last slide of this, and I just really want to encourage everyone in your own life of faith to make a plan for how you're going to connect to True Mother. Make it your plan, your way. I think it's the best way to prepare ourselves well for her leadership, to prepare ourselves for the future, to prepare our children for the future, to have that kind of relationship so that we really know so clearly who she is, and also who we are. And we have that depth of heart connection. And I think that's one of the best ways to move forward at this time. So I'd like to thank you very much. I'd like to join me in prayer. Loving Heavenly Parents, we are so grateful to gather here on Sunday, the beginning of each week, to connect first and foremost with you, and with our two parents, and with one another as a faith community. We are really grateful for this time. We're grateful to be alive at this time, to be able to serve our two parents, especially this very unique time when we have our true mother leading the movement and our true father in the spiritual realm. We feel their oneness. We want to support them. We want to move forward with them. So I pray at this time and send our love to our true mother and to members of True Family, and also send our love to every member of our community here, that we can all come together as a family and we can move forward, we can take care of one another, and we can really reach out and help one another. Thank you so much for this time together, and I'd like to report this now, upholding the name of our true parents, the names of Thomas and Alexa Ward, the Ward Blessed Central Family at June.
Thank you, Mrs. Warner.